We are videotaping because we got Peeps and Diamond Academy and other team members who are excited.
I know, I was on Zoom last night, like adjusting.
All right, if you guys want to grab your chairs and pull up, and then if someone will just chill by that so that you can, you know, rotate it for each other.
What kind of chairs? The lower chairs or
The stools, whatever. Whatever you guys are excited about. Or you can all come over here, either way. I was going to create a circle with that.
Oh, I can come closer.
Yeah. And then if you want to fill in right here, and then if you can rotate that based on who's talking.
Oh, the
Or you
shape
can
is
just
so
come
dope.
closer.
Oh my god.
We'll do that. So we'll do that. Can you see? Okay, cool. So we have a really intimate group today, which is really exciting. But it's great. We, you know, sometimes people jump on now and sometimes they watch the video back. But cool. I'm excited. This is going to be powerful and fun. And you know, the biggest thing about MindFit, all of you have been to MindFit. Yeah?
This is my first MindFit.
This is your first
I'm a
MindFit
MindFit newbie.
Okay, cool. So the whole concept of MindFit is that we, you know, sharing, we all learn from each other, right? We can teach each other something, we can learn from each other, all of that. And so in our shares, it's really easy to go back and like, oh, this is what happened, and like bring people there. But what we invite you to do in everybody who shares is like really, if we're going back into a story, think about what is the lesson I learned that brings us back now to the present, so that we're not stuck in the but we're learning the process of what happened.
Okay, related to something.
Yeah, totally. So our topic this week is awareness, which is a very big, broad topic, I think, and I think there's a lot of layers in the topic of awareness. Last week, our topic was being present, if you remember that. And so being present, we talked about, you know, touching, feeling like being in life instead of watching life and like really being in it. Before we go into awareness, I know you guys were here, or you were here last week for sure.
No.
You were here. Do you have anything that you want to talk about being present from last week?
It's just how much of a difference it makes when you are versus when you're not.
Did you have a specific experience that you noticed it?
Yeah, whenever I listened to myself and I heard that voice, and whenever I don't want to say obey, but whenever I listen to myself in that moment and not go against it, that's when like everything would kind of fall into place. And whenever I would have that conversation, well, why? But I want to do it this way. But I want to, you know, like then that's when I would run into more like complications and stuff. So I just think just being present in the moments, they just really make a difference in overall like your day, how it works out, and all that good stuff. So.
Totally. Do you guys want to say anything about being present? Because I think it kind of blends into the concept of being aware.
Agreed. I think you definitely have to be present in your life as far as all aspects of your life. Also being aware of everything that's going on in your life. That doesn't sound crazy, but I think they both go hand in hand.
Yeah, I definitely agree. To be present, you have to be mindful and be in the moment, and to be aware, you have to be the same thing. So, one kind of leads to the other.
Yeah, it's almost like it could be interchanged, I think, the wording, or maybe not. I think everybody has their own thing, but I really wanted to start off with, where'd it go? Okay, I just thought it was cool. I read the definition of awareness from like the dictionary.
Okay.
So awareness is the state or ability to perceive, to feel, or to be conscious of events, objects, or sensory patterns. In this level of consciousness, sense data can be confirmed by an observer without necessarily implying understanding. More broadly, it is the state or quality of being aware of something. In biological psychology, awareness is defined as a human's or an animal's perception and cognitive reaction to a condition or event. So that was really interesting, and there's a lot of different points that I think we could pull from. So for me, awareness is looking at all the layers and having a sense of like, okay, I'm looking at this wall and there's orange and black lettering and there's like a spider web on it. Like, for those of you who can't see, it's actually like we made a spider web. It's not like it's dirty and there's a spider web. We actually made a spider web. But in looking at that, I'm aware that there's people behind the bar making a shake. I'm aware that there's people outside walking. I'm aware that you guys are sitting next to me. I'm aware that there's a pink bag right over here. Like, there's an awareness. But sometimes when we get so caught up in self, or when our ego steps in, like really drives us, it's like the only thing I see is that. And if anybody tries to tell me there's anything else around, it's like, no, that's it, that's all. And so what happens in the lack of awareness, in my opinion, is a closed mind.
Yes.
We close our mind, we close ourselves off from the ability to see opportunity and to see the beautiful miracles that are around us. And so the awareness is still being focused. I can still be focused here, but I'm aware, there's a playing field about this right now. Like, there's a lot of different elements that are in the place. And when there's those different elements, we can get messaging from it.
True.
Good or bad.
True.
You know? So,
I think sometimes also things that can happen in our life itself can cause us to be unaware of things, because we'll lose our focus of everything going on around us and just be caught up in the moment of whatever it is that's going wrong in our life. So it's also a point of being present as far as not dwelling on something maybe that happened to you and letting go of it, and being aware that your energy affects people around you. That's huge. And sometimes if you can let go of those things that are bothering you or causing you to have a bad day, and try and focus on being present and aware and positive, that will shift your energy and also help you to be a light and maybe positive energy to someone else.
Yes.
Because sometimes if you're carrying something, it can affect other people. You don't even mean for it to affect someone else, but it's just something that's going on with you. So I think mentally, like personally, you have to learn how to kind of be aware of your own energy, what's going on with you, and how you reflect that out and how it affects other people.
Yep, totally.
Yeah, it'll always affect, energy will affect other people. But
Yeah.
I think awareness too, I always think of like a horse with its like blinders on, where it can only kind of see what's in front of them. And it's the same thing, kind of like the layering. You have to be, aware of everything that's going on around you, not just what's in front of you, not just what you can see, but what you can see in all planes, because then you can get the bigger picture. You can understand your truth, which is kind of what awareness is too.
Yes.
But I think also as human beings, we have a gift of being able to make choices.
Very true.
And for me, going out of your way or making a choice to be in gratitude, or being aware of gratitude,
Yes, that's huge.
or to dismiss gratitude, or to say, oh, I woke up this morning, but whatever, fill in the blank. You know what I mean? Like, we have a choice that we can make as far as like how we want to show up and how we want to become more and more aware of things that can either make our day or break our day, or improve or take away from what we're doing, distract, or whatever way we want to put it. But we have like huge, I think right now, as far as especially like with the things that are going on with us in our active healthy lifestyle community, there's like a certain awareness that you feel, and we just get to show up in our awareness and know that this is the time for us to really be aware.
Yes, and be that example, because when we're here in the club, especially when we have clients that come in, especially like if we have to run a workout, say if we had a bad day and we come in, just don't maybe feel like, bringing that energy. But you got to bring that energy, because that is what gets them motivated. That's what gets them excited. That's what gets that wonderful like vibe, that just explodes out of here, where people just feel like they had an amazing experience. So like you said, it's making a choice to shake it off, get into the moment, become, present in that moment, and give it your all and give it your best. Let your light shine and see how it affects everyone else around you. So agreed, it is definitely a choice.
Something else to think about when you're thinking about when we have this conversation around awareness is that awareness can actually support us in making decisions. So not only how we show up, do we show up aware, but showing up to ourselves in our decision making. So for instance, like let's just say, okay, I want to go to a trip to San Diego. I'm totally making this up. But like, let's just say, okay, I want to go to a trip on San Diego. I'm going to, stay in a hotel. I'm going to travel down there so I get to look at the money. But if I'm charged with, I'm going to San Diego, no matter what, and somebody else is like, well, what about going to Malibu? There's this really cool place, and like, it's actually even more gorgeous than the place that you were thinking. It's cheaper, and you can actually spend more time there. And I'm like, but I really want to go to San Diego. I really want to go to San Diego. And I'm so focused on that thing that I'm not hearing my other possibilities.
Yeah.
And so I can make the decision, but if I broaden my awareness and actually have the awareness, I'm like, oh, so if I go to San Diego, these are my possibilities. I wasn't really thinking about Malibu, but if I go there, well, I have a friend who lives there, so maybe I could even connect with that person. It's like you have the wherewithal to see all the outcomes versus just the one that you think is right, which we talked a lot about last week in being present. There's really no right or wrong. And when we're just in the presence and we are in our truth, that alignment happens.
Right.
And so it's like, me going to San Diego is not necessarily the right or wrong answer, but I might have a totally better, heightened experience if I open myself up to the awareness of options. So I think making decisions really, really, really supports having awareness. Yeah. Making those choices.
And I think another word for how you're describing, or at least how I'm perceiving what you're describing, is the ability to be aware but yet flexible.
Yeah, I like that.
To be like malleable, bendable, open, and being able to twist and turn, and just kind of roll with however things go.
Yeah, because like you said, you can have just as good a time in Malibu that you could if you went to San Diego.
Yeah.
So not stressing yourself about, I gotta get to San Diego. But like, look, I can do this and have just as good a time. So yeah, definitely being open and being flexible.
And giving up, I think, that control and being stubborn. I think sometimes you
Yeah.
get in that realm where you're like, no, this is what I'm going to do, and nothing's going to stop me.
Right.
And it's not necessarily you not being as strong or giving up on something. It's just you being, maybe even more stronger because you're able to be open and flexible.
That's right.
And be aware of what maybe other people want more than what you want. Maybe your friend wants to go to Malibu for some reason that's more important than you going to San Diego. And you just can't see that because you're like, no, San Diego, San Diego. Well, that's why I love thinking of the blinders.
Yeah.
Because it's like really a horse can only see what's in front of it. And it's that way for a reason, because it doesn't want distractions or other options. But for us, we have to encompass it all. We have to be aware of everything.
Yeah, being aware, you can't be closed-minded.
Awareness is freedom.
It is freedom. That's a great word.
It's freedom.
Yes.
Free to be.
I think awareness as well. I love the freedom thing. I think that's there's like a breath in it. Like,
yeah.
See, I'm very aware.
Right.
I'm free. Talking about the closed-minded, open-minded thing, it's very much like a lack of awareness is really being self-absorbed.
Agreed.
Being in the ego. Yep. Being me, selfish. And being aware is more of the world view of things. It's like me or the world. Me or the world. And literally, it opens up just like that. It's like, I think awareness to me is like a worldly concept. Like, the bigger view. Right. You're watching the theater show or the ballet from the top, very back row so that you can see every piece of everything. Yeah. But if you're in the front row, there's a much less awareness of what's going on.
Yes.
And not that that's bad. I mean, the front row at the ballet is really incredible. But, if you're looking at it from the awareness standpoint, it's like, there's a different vantage point.
It is.
When you have the awareness.
And I think people that are closed-minded and that are unaware, they're limited.
Yes, which I have been there
We're
before.
very limited. And the thing is if you allow yourself to open up to other people and to be aware, there's a different emotion that comes to you from that. There's a different feeling of gratitude, a feeling of helping others that, it makes you feel different other than just being focused on yourself and, what you want and what it's about for you. And I think if more people would allow themselves to do that, it's an amazing feeling to me, I think, than just being focused on me and what I want.
So what I'm hearing you say is that to be aware is to be connected,
Absolutely.
and then to be unaware is to be isolated.
I think so. I really think so, because people that are like that live a certain kind. Their lives are different. You know? They're very different, and it's a lot different from ours, I feel. And it's hard for me sometimes to connect with people that are like that are very closed-minded, because they can't see why I'm going the extra mile, because it's not in them.
Well, they don't
To
care
do
to
that.
see either.
No,
No,
they're
no,
very-
but
yeah.
see, I want to offer a different perspective because I do think it's in them. There's just something that's locked in.
Well, it's walls.
Right? We all have the
built
ability.
something.
We all have the
Yeah.
ability, but yes, they're not standing in that. And
Yeah,
Something is
Yeah.
happening
And they're
where
stuck between those four walls, and so many people don't even know how to break them down. Some don't even realize they're stuck in those four
and
walls.
some don't want to break them.
No, they don't, because you know what? You know what's huge with that is fear.
And they'll remind you, hey,
Fear.
you're doing too much.
Yeah.
Slow down.
And I'm like,
Gonna be okay?
I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing too much.
Well, people
like,
get
you know,
comfortable. Yeah, they'd rather
comfort
stay
zone,
in
love.
crap or
Right.
like a bad relationship or a bad job because that's what they know.
Yes.
Going out into the unknown is very fearful.
Yeah. And some
It
people
takes a
want
lot
to
of
stay.
courage.
They want to stay in that little world that they have, but branch out. There's a saying that says something like, what if I fly? It's like you could stay where you're at and be comfortable, but you're afraid to actually branch out. But what if you actually branch out and you fly? And it's amazing. And some people just don't want to take that step. So I encourage everyone, get over that fear. Take that step. You never know. You just might fly. It's so amazing.
One, I think everybody has fear, even if
Absolutely.
they stay where they are.
Yeah.
It's just what levels, and maybe it's the awareness too. Because when you stick in a place that you're used to,
That you're used
the
to.
awareness isn't there.
Yeah.
And so it's easier to get through your day to day. When you're like going out of your comfort zone and this is new, it's scary, and the awareness is there.
I'm trying to pull people out of that comfort zone, I swear. Like I have friends
It's always
that
a
try to
choice,
pull
though.
out.
Yeah,
It's a choice.
Yeah, and they'll act all gung-ho and stuff at first, like, yeah, and then they'll give it a week or so, and next thing I know, they're right back into it.
like,
But it's, I mean, a perfect example is like, you have been literally like Miss Explorer woman these past
Right.
few months.
Yes.
Like, coming here and like figuring out a new city and the whole business plan that I had over it was Boston, right?
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Mhm.
Okay, so in Baltimore, like, that's no longer there. So now this, and it's like you've been in that awareness. Like if you've almost been forced into awareness, I think.
Yeah.
If I'm I don't want to speak words into your mouth, but like being in a new area, it's like, okay, what's going on? What's this?
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
it's almost like exploring too, because it was interesting. Because it's been actually like a year and a half because I went to Florida before this and
Okay.
traveled. So when I went back to Baltimore, I actually tried to look at Baltimore like a city I've never been. And it was interesting what started to happen because things that I wasn't aware of before, I started like, wow, this has been here for this long. And
Right.
I haven't
You have different
seen it,
perspective
and I
on
started
it.
actually walking around the city. Like if I was a tourist, what would I be interested in?
Cool.
Right.
And it gives you a complete different perspective, and it's interesting what happens when we become very, complacent and okay with a situation, especially if we're not okay with it. So many people go to their jobs every day because they're like, I need to get this paycheck, I need to do this, I need to do that, but it's that comfort that they're used to. But I think if they were aware of more stuff, that
Right.
they would be
It's like,
able
well,
to
what
be
else
like,
would I do? I'm going in, I'm going out. What else would I do?
well,
And
and
they might not have that bigger picture.
right.
That's right.
And I think no matter what you do, the fear will always be there. It's just doing something. I think Eleanor Roosevelt said it. She said, I do something every day that I fear because it makes you grow.
It makes you stronger too. Absolutely.
That's good.
There's a quote that I heard. I was listening to Les Brown, who's one of my favorite motivational guys, and he quoted, I want to say it's Emerson, and the quote was, familiarity land of the dead. Meaning, if you stay in that realm, just like how you said you lived there all your life and you didn't notice certain things. If you stay in that, you're never going to grow. You're never going to get past that to become aware of everything else beautiful, probably amazing around you. So, like, get out your comfort zone. Allow yourself to experience new things. Get familiar with other new things and watch how it affects and changes your life.
Right. I think for me, the biggest thing, and that's where I said awareness is truth too, because my biggest thing is living my truth.
Yes.
You know, what's good for me, and even though it's uncomfortable now, what's going to lead me to my ultimate purpose. You know, and that's one thing. Yeah, it's scary. Anything that you're going to do on a large scale is going to be scary, but you know, sitting around doing nothing is more scary. It's one of those.
But if it doesn't scare you, I think
you're not doing it right.
You're not doing it right. You're not dreaming big enough. It's got to scare you a little bit. It's got to give you butterflies.
It has to push you.
Know? Yeah, absolutely.
It's so interesting though, because there are people who just won't ever have that, and that's their path. You know, you can never like change someone for you. It's got to be their choice. And I think what you said about, you know, living your truth, when you talk about some form of your truth, your higher self, there's a higher source, a higher power guiding us, that literally every class, right? It always comes back to that. But why does it come back to that? Because it's our truth.
Yeah.
And some people don't get that yet, but basically, you know, there's their ego and then there's our higher self, and they live together, but it's which voice do you listen to? You know, the ego is very good at trying to protect us. So when fear pops up, the ego's like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. You want to stay comfortable, you want to stay safe, you want to, like, it's all those voices. But the higher self is like, fly, there's a bigger purpose.
There you go.
You're going to go impact all these people. You're going to be happy. And it's that voice, until you practice listening to it, that voice is much different. Until you practice listening, taking action, your higher self will start to overpower that ego. But the ego never leaves. It's always there because they both coincide. They live together within us. And it's actually good. Sometimes the ego is a very good thing, but until we learn how to bring that higher self forward, there's
and realize the greatness in that other higher
it's
self.
like nagging, like a wet blanket on the inside, like like this one is
it's kind of like, you know, the angel and the devil that you
it's like on the other shoulder.
It's like, don't do it.
We all have an internal battle.
Don't do it.
Right.
I mean,
there's a quote that's like, which one do you feed, or which one wins?
The wolf, right?
Yes, I love that. I
Whichever
love
one
that
you
quote.
feed.
Whichever one you feed. So choose to feed the right
Choosing
one.
to feed my angel over
Me
here.
too. I'm choosing to feed the angel. I love. Yeah, that's good stuff right there.
well, I think too, for me, my truth was when I set out on a spiritual path. And what I like saying is I'm a spiritual soul living a human experience.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And when I look at it that way, I can connect to it. Now, can I connect to it all the time? No. Do I get in these little moods where, you know, fear overpowers me? When I first got here, the first 2 days, in this complete funk, and I'm like, come on, just get off of me, whatever's in me, you know?
Yeah.
And it's because I let that fear overcome me to the point where, I mean, it can become paralyzing. Like, I will just sit there, and I'm like, I can't do anything. But you choose. So it's not always, you're always up here, you know, life's a roller coaster. So you can get attached to it and then you can lose it. But I think when you own it and you're like, this is me, I'm going to, no matter what, try to live in my truth, then you're able to access that more. And like you said, once you're able to access it more, you're able to be like, okay, well, I can get there.
And don't quit.
Practice.
Don't give up on it. Don't give up. You might have a bad day. Start your next day off and say, today's going to be amazing. I'm not going to let, I'm not going to let whatever held me back yesterday prevent me from having an amazing day today.
Something that I was working with one of my healers that I work with, and we were talking about a tightrope walker. And if you think about, you know, the old, I don't even know if they still do this, but like in the old days, like they would tightrope across like buildings, right?
No, I've seen
like,
oh my God,
like,
right.
I'm like, I don't know if it's still a thing. I don't really know, but Like if you think about this tightrope walker who's up above the top 2 buildings, walking across, like that's the bird's eye view, right? We talk about bird's eye view a lot, and it's like that's the awareness, because you can see the ocean, you can see the person walking into the bagel shop, you can see, you know, oh, they're mad in their car, you can see the dog jumping, you know, it's like you have that vantage point. And so to me, that awareness is like the vision and like using your sixth sense as well. You know, that intuition, the, okay, I feel like there's somebody walking in the door. Okay, like here's this. I think that's also another level of the awareness.
How do you? Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I'm sorry. How do you deal with like being aware of certain things that you don't want to be aware of? Like we want to be aware of all of the good things, but then there's something that's like clearly there. Then how do you deal with those types of issues?
Yeah, I was going to say along the lines of acceptance. You know, I can actually tell a personal story that through my spiritual awakening or the transformation that it was like I didn't want to believe the bad things anymore. I was like, oh, there's this beautiful thing, and now I'm like here, and like, oh, that's bad. Oh, that doesn't exist. But the thing is, it does exist. And in order for light to exist, dark has to exist.
Absolutely.
In order for dark to be there, light has to be there. Like it just is. It's the way of life. And so a lesson that I've had to learn is that it's actually okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to have that feeling or like something is going on. A family member is sick. You know, my car broke down and I don't have the money for it. Whatever the conversation is, it's okay to have awareness of it. It's actually better to have a bigger awareness. Because when you have the bigger awareness, you can be in a state of gratitude. You said that earlier.
Yes.
You said that earlier. So coming back to that, it's like, you know what? Okay. Car broke down. This is not cool. But what are my options? In a state of awareness, you have the acceptance and you have the surrender to welcome and support and help.
Sure.
But if you're like, nah, this is what's going on, and you're just focused on that, you're really not going to find the solution. So being aware is okay. It can still be upset, because another lesson in being aware, I think, is like emotional honesty. That's a lesson that I've had to learn. Is like, it's okay to be sad, but like, don't. Here's the difference. I could be like, okay, let's just say I came in angry today, but let's say I came in angry, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put this smiley face on, and I'm gonna do this. Instead of saying, you know what, Venus, I'm kind of like, I had something that angered me this morning, and I don't want to take it out on you. So I just want to let you know that I'm kind of in an angered state.
Absolutely.
Then it actually acknowledges it, it clears it, and I can actually be connected.
Right.
Versus coming in and I'm like angry, and you say something, I'm like, oh, I don't know, and then she thinks I'm angry at her.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm not.
And it gives that person opportunity to get it.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, okay. Having
compassion.
the awareness that it's okay. And yeah, you might not want to be aware of it the second that you hide it, you go into inauthenticity.
I want to apply that to toxic
Does that make sense?
relationships.
Yes.
And making yourself aware of things that may not be good for you, good in your spirit. And sometimes people make themselves unaware because they don't want to accept that this person is like that. You know, there's strength that comes from that too, but a lot of people are afraid to attack that. So you have to kind of make yourself aware, like, okay, this isn't good for me. This person makes me feel this way, or you know, I can't change this person, or this person has these certain addictions that, you know, I can't change. And making yourself aware of that situation, and also, can we fix it? Can it be fixed? Or am I wasting my time? Am I just putting time into something that's not going anywhere? And also realizing that you can't fix it. That person has to fix that on their own. They have to grow within themselves in order to change. And the acceptance then comes in that I've given my all, I've done everything that I can do. Now I have to take a step back. If it's meant to be and this is meant to work out, great. If not, then making myself aware of it was the best thing to do. Because now I can focus on what's good for me instead of allowing that to hold me back. And just because I want to be in a sense of unawareness because this is more comfortable, right? You know, stepping out of your comfort zone with that and accepting people for how they are. Looking at them and accepting them for how they are instead of viewing them in a certain way just because maybe you don't want to let that person go, you know, but maybe it's the best thing for you. So again, there's strength in that, I think, in allowing yourself to open up and see people for how they are with the acceptance and the awareness and doing what's best for you.
There's 2 points that came up when you were sharing. First and foremost, when there is someone who isn't willing to accept whatever it is that they're going through, they don't want to change. It's like I've definitely been in that situation. I'm like, change.
You think you can
But
change them?
when we lead by example,
Yeah.
when we have the awareness, and you can always offer a different perspective. You know, just by being in the space of compassion and love, that's the best thing that we can do for that person. Is be our authentic self, speak our truth, be love. Because in truth, we're always coming from a place of love.
That's right.
Sometimes we think we're speaking the truth and it comes out too harsh or too this, and that's probably the ego, you know, butting in. But when we're really speaking our truth, we're just leading with love and beauty and acceptance. And then there was something else that came up, and now I can't remember what it was. It was a good one too. I was really excited to share that. Yeah.
But that's
lead
it.
by example.
Lead by example, absolutely. You ever been around someone where their energy feels like it's smothering you? Absolutely. You ever felt that?
Oh yeah, energy is contagious.
That's another
Very.
thing of being aware. And it's like, okay, this is too much. You know, as much good stuff and much good energy as you try to put out there, sometimes there's just a block there. You know what I mean? With some people, you can't break through. Nothing can break through. So it's like, you're like, okay, let me take a step back. You know what I mean? And sometimes you just have to pull yourself away from those kind of situations and relationships. You know?
And you pull other people's energy sometimes. And
Yeah. Because I don't want it weighing me down. I don't like how it makes me feel. Because I'm light in energy.
if you're in tune too, yeah, the more you're like a spiritual healer or
Yeah.
whatever it is, you pick up all sorts
You
of
pick
stuff.
it up like immediately.
And I can at least say from my experience, you know, traveling around, staying at different people's houses, I picked up on it a lot. My sister told me because I was really tired. She was like, Tiffany, everybody's been pulling your energy. You've been sleeping in all these people's houses, doing what they want to do. She
Yeah.
was like, you're depleted.
That's true.
And so, like, the
Yeah.
next few weeks, that's what I'm doing. You know, it's just an energy level. But I have this sign, and I love it. It says, you know, be aware of the energy that you bring into this room. Because it's an awareness of the energy. Because if you're not aware of it, then you probably are going to bring into a negative energy. Because sometimes our mind goes there, run thought patterns. But if you're aware of it, then I feel like you're going to probably have a more positive energy.
Agreed.
Because you're like, this is something that I need to know. This is me, you know, and I need to be the best of me for everyone else.
Yeah.
I think I got another thing. So awareness is to be responsible.
Awareness is, to be
You have to
responsible.
be responsible for it because you bring in something to other people.
Yes.
That's what I got out of what you just said.
Yes.
No, we all have to be responsible for what we do. If we stop being responsible, then all kinds of stuff.
I was like, that's a
Yeah.
whole topic. We could go for days on that
And if
topic.
you don't think you're responsible, then that's a whole nother
Imagine if that was the topic for the week. That would be hilarious.
Right.
We had that topic, and it was a funny topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of heaviness, and people actually do so much to skirt out of the responsibility.
Oh yeah.
So that's that like.
You ever had that
closing
person
back.
to come in and bring a bunch of bad energy and then act like what? It's not me. What? You know, I guess it was you. Yeah, you got all that started. You know what I mean?
But
So
sometimes people just aren't aware. They don't even know what the word awareness is.
they don't get it.
It's like a
You
snail
know, they're
trail.
caught in the cycle.
You know, they
Yes.
they swoop their little
Ego,
trail
and I
on you,
feel
and
bad,
you know,
and
it's a trail behind you. They don't even notice
They don't
it.
even notice. And I feel bad for people. Like,
So let's talk about how do we practice awareness.
I think mindfulness, you know, meditation, being aware of who you are as an individual, the energy that you're bringing to the space, and knowing what you want too, you know, because if you know what you want and you're able to give that back to other people, then you can be aware of everything that's happening.
I think being aware of the strength of your presence has a lot to do with awareness.
Yeah.
Knowing that, you know, because like for me, sometimes I've been told people are drawn to the energy that you put out there. And being aware of that, You know, so knowing that if you're coming into, you know, a room where you're dealing with people and everything, being mindful of what you're putting out there and that confidence and how it's going to affect other people. And most times it's affecting them in a positive way, inspiring people, you know, in a positive way. That's how I feel about my workouts. When I come and I'm bringing energy, people are drawn off of that. You know, they're loving it. Yeah, so I'm realizing I need to be in that place every time I come, every time I bring it, no matter how bad I'm feeling, because I'm affecting all these other people. And I want anytime I affect someone for it to be a positive.
Great. So let's take an example, because you're in this example of coming in. So let's say you drive up here and something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do to shift from your car to in here? What will you do?
Honestly, I pray.
Beautiful.
That's the first thing I do. Before I get out the car, because I talk to God all the time. I do. First thing I say when I wake up in the morning is, "Good morning, Father. Thank you for waking me. Help me have an amazing day today." So same thing, when I get here, it's like, God, I know I got to do this workout. Help me shake this off. Help me come in here with good spirit. Because people, with me, my emotions show in my eyes too.
Yeah, mine too.
Right?
I can't hide it. Really, everybody's too, but
Okay.
sometimes people just, again,
Like if
don't
someone
see
knows
it.
you,
Yeah.
like say if someone knows you, you know, like if someone knows me and I'm upset, I can walk and go, "What's wrong?" I'm like, and I without even
Like,
saying anything,
shoot.
like, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm trying to hide.
I
You
did.
see me with my sunglasses on, okay? I'm trying to hide.
We want to
Like,
know.
I'm trying to hide it. So, right. Because, you know, 'cause at that point I'm not dealing with it, but that's what I have to do. That's what I have to, you know, so I pray about it, ask God to help me to shake it off and just get into the moment, you know? Maybe get out the car and do a couple jumping jacks or something, you know?
Sing, dance.
Yeah.
Shifting the energy.
Yeah,
Always.
shift the
Moving
energy.
the body helps. Breathing helps. Praying.
Yes.
Meditating.
Going for a
Being
run, that's
grateful.
huge. I do that a lot too. If I have something that's weighing me down, I'll get up and go for a run in my neighborhood. Yeah, yeah. Some good music. Music is huge too. Playing something positive. Yeah. So I love that.
Taking on the practice of when you walk up to somebody, like greeting hi, and like looking at their eyes, hi, hi, because that automatically is like a whole new awareness.
It is.
Right? Like you can see deep into someone's soul.
You can.
You can talk to them, and you know, hey, girl, I'm just gonna give you a little extra love today.
Yeah.
You know, Donnie comes up to me and like there's a couple of other girls that come up and they're like, I'm like, hey, we start talking, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna send you extra love, and they're like, I'm like, that's what I do. Like I'm so grateful that I've come to the place now where I actually can connect.
Yeah.
Because it's a skill to learn.
It is.
And there's a fear prior to being in that connection of like, they're gonna see me.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna see me. So I can see people actually start running away from me sometimes in the club because they don't want to be seen.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, okay, I got it. Mm-hmm. It's okay. I'm just gonna shower love. Shower with love rainbows.
Shower here.
Love rainbows.
Right.
You know?
It is interesting
Right.
when you start connecting to people though, because like I said, I went through like a little funk when I first came here the first day or two. And I do these little exercises just to get myself out of it. And I said, I'm gonna try to see how many people I can connect with today. And I literally tried to make eye contact with as many people as I
I'm
could.
all
And
about eye
it
contact.
changes people. Some people
It
get all
does.
freaked out. Some people
Freaked
get
out.
yeah, they
They're
don't know.
like walk in and they're like,
Guys like all kinds of weird stuff.
She's looking at me. Oh my God.
yeah.
But I'm
True.
like, and people, all kinds of things go through people's minds, you
Yeah.
know, and it's just like, but
Yeah.
it's interesting seeing what happens.
I don't like when people don't make eye contact.
It
I go
makes
out of
me feel
my
like,
way.
what are you hiding?
I'm like, what are you looking at? Or guys crack me up. Say they're trying to check you out. I'm like, my eyes are here. My eyes are here. You know, you're looking everywhere else, but that's one thing I make a point, right?
They're
It's
not
hilarious.
here.
Like guys are oblivious to the fact that, you know, I'm looking at your eyes and I see where your eyes are. So back up here, you know. So, but I go out of my way to make eye contact with everyone because I feel like I'm connecting with you. And like we have guests come in us and I shake their hand, welcome, and I'm looking them in their eye, I'm making them feel welcome. You wouldn't believe how many people smile. That just makes this like,
You might be the
she
first
said hi
person
to
in
me,
their
or,
day.
you know, it's just like, wow, you know, I feel good because, you know, I'm in this group of all these fit people. I may not feel totally comfortable, and this person's coming up to me, making me feel welcome, and high-fiving me and encouraging me, you know. Like I said, your spirit, your energy is everything Totally when you're dealing with people. So awareness, being aware of what you're putting out there. You put good out there, good's gonna come back. I believe that's my motto. You know, right? Yeah, right. So do that. You know, be mindful about it, being aware, and try and bring that every day.
This like awareness has so many layers.
It does.
So many layers. Saying hi to someone, making decisions, breathing.
Yeah.
Like having the bird's eye view.
Leading with love.
Leading with love.
Yes.
What else did you
Energy,
say?
responsibility,
Responsibility.
acceptance,
And karma.
karma.
Nothing fearful.
Nothing fearful.
Yeah.
Because it's like what you're aware of is aware of you.
Yes.
You know, like
Agree.
if you're aware
I like
of
that.
bad stuff, and all the bad stuff is also going to be aware. Like people can, like all you see is bad stuff in people.
Mhm.
Then all of a sudden, then they start seeing like whatever your shortcomings are. You know what I mean? When you see good in other people, then they might tend to maybe not consider your shortcomings as much.
Agreed.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I've been told that's a good and a bad thing. Because I'm like that. You know, always trying to look for the good in someone. You know, always
I
trying to.
think that's a good thing.
And yeah, that's my focus. I always, you know, some people have told me, oh, you know, you're too optimistic. You're too, you know.
That's because they don't know how to get there.
Right.
And they're actually jealous.
Yeah, hey.
Maybe
you
not all
know,
the time.
Right.
But that's a possibility.
Right. And my thing is, I want to give someone the benefit of the doubt. I just don't want to look at someone and make an assumption and think they're a certain kind of way because of how they're dressed, where they came from. Or I mean, I think that's a closed-minded view. And I don't think that you can grow and be aware of everything if you're looking at people that way. So I think always approach people like give them the benefit of the doubt and being optimistic and positive. I think that's a good way of thinking.
I think what you were saying, we create that.
Mhm.
So we're all a mirror for each other. So we're all connected, whether
Yeah.
you want to believe it or not.
Right.
You know, I'm you, you're me. And a lot of people have that problem with accepting it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like me against the world mentality. No, I need to fight this or fight that.
Well, here's this. Some
But-
people don't like me.
But if you only
That's
see
huge.
negative in people, I would say that's the reflection of you. So the
Right.
fact that you're able to see all the
Absolutely.
positive means that that's what you're seeing in other people and whatever. And I can definitely say that this is true, at least for my sense. Whatever you wish upon someone else or give to someone else will come.
Yeah.
Because it's you. So if I'm wishing something upon you that's negative, I'm really wishing it upon myself.
Right. Right.
It's a circle.
Agreed.
That's what this conversation was what I was going to say when you were talking about toxic relationships.
Okay.
I was going to talk
Yes.
about the mirror effect of like, if you're
Yes.
like, change, you're really saying that to yourself.
Right.
Change.
Right.
Or, you know, if you're like, why can't you just get this?
Or
be this way,
Yeah.
Or be this way, or judging someone.
Or if you're judging them for a certain thing.
Yeah.
There's a piece of that that's inside of you. So,
Absolutely.
you guys already covered it. Good job.
Right,
Yes. See, I got it and you're supposed
There you go.
Right.
Picking up on those wavelengths.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so we're coming kind of to the end here. So let's just
Okay.
talk about some of the practices that we can do this week. I think from one of them that we talked about is looking at people in the eye. We already do it, but have a newfound appreciation for it, and we might already
Agreed.
like
Agreed.
connect. So
Mhm.
I think that's a great start to
Mhm. And I like it because it kind of throws people off a little bit too. You just sit in their face like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Welcome. You know?
So connecting in people's eyes, taking 3 deep breaths,
I like that.
multiple times a day. Because when you have those breaths, it's like, oh, yeah, now I can hear there's something running inside. Like I didn't notice it before, but after I took that breath, I was like, oh.
Like you were saying in yoga, slow down.
Mhm.
It's- We're always go. What do I need to do next?
Right.
That slow down.
Just 3 breaths. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think those are 2 really great practices.
Yeah.
Focus and
Yes.
3 deep breaths. Even if you want to take it on, like really take it on, set your timer. It doesn't have to make a noise, but have like a message that pops up every 2 or 3 hours that says breathe.
That's
So
kinda
whatever
dope. I
you're
like
doing,
that.
I've even done this before with if I'm in a conversation with people, I'm like, you know what, my timer just came up. Do you want to breathe with me?
That's nice.
You know,
I like
and then
that.
you're actually inviting other people in because a lot of this conversation is great for us, but how are we paying it So,
Yes, you know, definitely want to pay this forward because this is good stuff.
yeah. So we good? Do we feel good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, some awareness. Yay, thank you all. Whoever's watching, there was one viewer. Or
Was it?
whoever watches this back, thank you guys. We are aware of you. So thank you. We appreciate you and have a beautiful week.